You are now listening to the most electrified and vilified podcast on the net, Hot Topix Podcast. Let's get this party started. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Hot Topix Podcast. I'm your host, Psycho 4081.
And Felonious Feather.
Yes, and Lamb Chop is not here today. She had some personal business to take care of. So,
hi, Lamb Chop.
All the best. Hope everything works out. We have our guest here today. We have Donna Marie. How you doing?
Hey, hello. How's everybody doing today?
We're good, thank you.
Great.
And you? How's she doing?
I'm doing well. Wait a minute. I thought I had like a little nickname or something. Something with some
Penelope Plantkiller.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
So, welcome, Penelope Plantkiller, to the
yes,
show again.
Why even everybody two names, like two names together?
Because you gotta have first name, last name. So today's topic, well, we're gonna do a follow up to the last two that we didn't do, and then briefly, and then we're gonna go into the topic called jealousy. How do you handle jealousy and envy? And there is a difference between jealousy and envy, if you didn't know.
Oh, they're two different things.
Yes, totally two different things. Even though people use it interchangeably, they're actually two different things. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to get your perspective on it and Penelope's perspective on it, and we're going to go from there. So first, you guys are doing well. Nice day. Finally getting some better weather.
Yeah, at least that one. Yeah, amen to that.
Yeah. So, on the last episode, we go back to the last two episodes. Mm-hmm. We talked about, do you know the difference between love and in love? Love and in love. Being in love and loving someone. And then we followed that up with, what do you expect your potential mate to bring to the table? So, if you guys didn't check those two episodes out, we're going to basically, we put our opinions on there. So we want to get your opinion on that. Starting with, do you know the difference between love and in love?
So I know that I was in love with the concept of being in love.
Okay.
I feel like being in love is something different to everybody else. I feel like people equate it with a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So, am I really in love or am I really in lust? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Sometimes when you have strong emotional ties from a sexual aspect, it gets kind of cloudy. So you think that those feelings that you have in the moment is like, oh, I really love him, but it's not, or I'm in love with him. But I don't know if I even really understand what what it is to be in love, because I go from, when I love hard,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I feel like once the infatuation part is over, I'm just all in, but I didn't take time to see things that in some relationships that could have been red flags, because the feeling of, I think I'm in love, but it was really, I'm in lust.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. So, Polonius said last time, she said, in love had the element of, just the great feelings of, that you have for somebody. But the in love part was when you had the physical feeling to it, when you want to share yourself, your body with that person. So that was the in love as she described it. Now, I describe it as similar. So if you love somebody, that's just great, more than ordinary affection for somebody. That love, you can love a brother, a son, daughter, mother, cousin, or whatever. But when it comes to a mate, we were looking at being in love when you want to say, well, I want to spend the rest of my life with that person. And you mentioned, Thelonious mentioned that even if they had something, an element to them that if it's no longer there, you still, would accept them and love them without,
Regardless.
like,
Correct.
for example, like what?
Your hair.
Like if your hair fell out, would you still love them the same? So it took away that physical attraction part maybe and proved that it's more than just regular love.
And it is funny that you said that because I remember when I was transitioning from Baltimore to the Eastern Shore, and there was a moment where I didn't have any employment or any health or dental insurance, right? So I was in a situation where I had to have a tooth pulled, and it was kind of cooked. It's like I have such a big smile that when I smile, you can see it. So I remember asking my husband, I was like, listen, are you going to still love me when I don't have no teeth? How is this me getting this tooth pulled and not being able to get the dental work to get that tooth put back in my head anytime soon? How is that going to work out? You think about those kind of things. But, luckily for me in that moment, he was like, girl, listen, one day we probably ain't going to have no teeth altogether. So, but yeah, but I feel like that's the love part. Like the not so much of being in love, but that's the love part. When I love you, I'm loving everything, and all of that comes with you. It's like if you're sick, I'm going to make sure that I take care of you because I love you.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it is a different type of love when you're loving your partner than it is from your kids, your mom, and that kind of thing. And you do go the extra mile, but I don't really know for myself if I ever really knew or if I ever have really been in love. Like when you walk in that room, that thing that's like, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the concept of being in love. I'm in love with the concept of being in love. If that makes
I get
sense.
it. Yeah. So that pretty much says that I want to be in this status. So I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna push that, right?
Yeah.
If I'm in love with the concept of being in love. Mm-hmm. All right. So now, would in love mean for you, or for you also, fellow Polonius, that if a person's in love, that means I only want you out of anybody else. You are the one for me, and I'm forsaking all others.
That's what it says in the Bible, anyways. When you're reading your vows.
Yeah, that's what it say, but it don't always end up being that way.
Yeah, when you're reading your vows, it says forsaking all others.
So, in the follow up to that question, and if that's so, now this is a funny one, because does that mean that you can only truly love one person?
Not love. That's what I'm saying. Be in love with one person at a time. I think you can love a lot of people, but I think that in love concept is for one person at a time. Yes.
What say you?
Well, yeah. If you are going to jump all in and give that vow, you should, honor it by loving that person. Like for me, I was, hey, when I'm loving you, I'm loving you. I don't have space to love somebody else. But do I believe that there are people who could love multiple people? Absolutely, because those people are looking for different things, right? But for me, again, being in love with the concept of being in love, I ended up loving what I thought that the other person needed at the time, if that makes sense.
Loving what the other person needed.
Right. So however they needed love to show up for them, that's what I converted into to show you. I'm a doer by nature. I'm not warm and fuzzy, woo, 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 woo. I'm not going to, be like, oh, hey, babe, I love you every 5 minutes. And I'm not going to be texting you every 5 minutes because I'm out here doing things, right? But when I do things for you, things, small things, big things, things in between, those actions, I'm conveying
love.
My love.
So that means that
if I didn't love you,
So that means your love language is also acts of service.
You said that means what? I'm sorry.
Your love language is acts of service.
Yes.
Okay. So that's how you show your love.
Yes.
So it's not about you, how you show love. Being in love is not how you show love.
Right.
It's me. I'm showing you love. It's me
how you feel.
Knowing, like, this person, I'm singling this person now. This person makes me feel different. You know, it's not about how you show, like, oh, okay, I love you, I'm gonna do this. No, it's how that person makes you feel, not how you want to please that person. Or
so how that person makes you feel to inspire you to do those things.
You understand how it makes you feel, like, oh my God. You know, when you just look at it, I'm like, oh my God, I love this person. I'm in love with this person. You know, regardless of whatever it is, how you feel, how the person, stop smiling at me. how that person makes you feel is what in love. Your own feelings, not the person's feelings, or how the person inspires.
So that means it doesn't have to be reciprocated.
No, it doesn't. Okay. It doesn't. It's just how you feel. I can be in love with you, and you might not be in love with me.
Right.
You know. So it's how you. I'm like, oh God, this person. You can't help it. You know, regardless of whatever, you cannot help being in love with somebody. You know.
So that would be
something you can control or control. Mm-hmm. I think being in love is not something you can control. You can't help it.
So that the big question out of that would be, you know, can you be in love with more than one person? You can love more than one person.
Yes,
but can you be
not in love. That's what I'm saying. It's just peculiar to one person.
Okay. What do you think? Can you actually be in love with more than one person?
For me, I don't know if I have the capacity to do that, because being in a relationship is draining with one person. Trying to do that with multiple people. But I know people who are in multiple relationships who love those people or are in love with those people for whatever reasons they need, you know.
Or
some people aren't one person, you know, their soul doesn't feel like it's just connected to one person.
Or could it be that one, you might be in love with one person and in lust with the other?
It's usually
that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel like what she said is true. Like the concept of being in love is different for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so those feelings, they lead to the doing, because when you feel something for somebody, it makes you want to do more. Yeah. So I know she said it's not necessarily about showing, but it's a lead into that.
Okay.
You know.
So moving from that, in your past relationships, did you ever consider what a person, or even yourself, what do you bring to the table as a requirement to get into a particular relationship?
No. I've never. I mean, listen.
And that means any of your relationships, whether your first one or your last.
I don't think, I feel like I always jumped head into a relationship, and I never really thought about the table.
Mm-hmm.
Never really thought about what I brought to the table or what the other person brought to the table. But what does that mean? Is that financially? Is that emotionally, spiritually, physically? You know, what is the table?
All that you mentioned.
Yeah, so for me, I feel like it was a time when I was kind of going through in my marriage, you know, when I was going through all of these things, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I did this, I bought that, I did this, I bought that. But at the end of the day, we all got to bring something to the table so we all can eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's really not because if I rock with you, I rock with you, and I want both of us to be okay, and I would hope that other person would reciprocate the same thing. So it doesn't, because if you can't bring it to me financially, I work 10 jobs. I don't need a man to take care of me financially.
Mm-hmm.
But I do need someone to look after my spiritual connections. You know, that I want a man to be a man in a relationship.
So
if that makes sense.
Yeah. So my comment to that is there's no man, in my opinion, that should allow his woman to work 2 jobs.
Yeah, we in different times, Brian. They don't make them like they used to make. They
That's
don't make
one.
them like they used to. They don't.
so, it when you say bringing something to the table, that's basically saying your minimum requirements. So like for me, I said in the last episode, I said something along the lines of you had to bring some type of resource or skill, and that meant you don't have to have, A, B, C, and D. You had to have A or B or C or D. For example, if you're coming to the relationship, if you can cook, right, that's a resource. So, that means that part is taken care of if I didn't know how to cook, but I do, But let's say if you are one who is a good organizer or somebody who's we call it a negotiator, or, somebody who can, resolve issues, or you was a good nurturer. So you have to have a combination of some of these things. And like at this time, you would look at, I would say a single man would look at it as, the next relationship, especially when you get to, a certain age, you said the next relationship, they have to have these things because I'm not with the BS anymore. Right. She don't have to be financially secure because as a man, that's, you would say, I'll take care of that. But you have to be a person. When I say nurture, I mean, you have to be that peace. If I come home and I'm having issues, you got to know how to keep me at peace, or, if I'm lacking when it comes to organizational skills, that's what I would like to have, like the compliment to have. So, and I do value intelligence. So for me, that is, you have to bring that to the table. I'm not going to go into a relationship. I got to explain everything to a person, like, why is the water wet, or, something common stuff like that. And there's a lot of people out there like that, why you should, what are you doing? She said, mind my business. So yeah, but there's a lot of things that, when you get to a certain age, you start saying, all right, for example, for me, you have to know how to drive. I don't expect you to drive when I'm driving, if I'm here, but you have to know how to drive. Or if you don't know how to drive, you're willing to get there, right? Because you don't want to have to, pull people around all the time. And, you got to have some type of independent mindset. Not to say you have to be independent, but if you should need to be at any time, you could step up and say, oh, I can handle that. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I get that.
Now, looking back, do you wish you would have had, like a business meeting? That person comes to the table, you come to the table, and you say, here, these are my list of requirements. And they said, these are my list of requirements. And you say, all right, let's negotiate this. If you can't meet these list of requirements, maybe I can pass on some. And then you would say, well, I can't meet all your requirements, but can you pass on some and accept those as is? That's why they say, come to the table, bring to the table. That's a negotiating thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Looking back, I wish I would have. For me, I feel like the biggest thing that I would ask somebody to bring to the table would be a protector.
Okay.
As a female, and because of the things that I went through with my father, I've never felt that sense of being protected.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that, that's across a broad, a range of things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Security.
Right. That would be a big thing for me. Someone who would, listen, I don't like to drive, but I'm going to need you to drive. And I need you to, I hope that you would know how to fix a car.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at a car, or just kindness, empathy and sympathy. Somebody who would just really, for real, honestly want. And when I say take care of me, it would be nice if somebody would, like, financially say, hey, girl, listen, you work 10 jobs. I don't want you to do that. Focus on your schoolwork, focus on this or whatever. For me, that's not my case. But I would love someone to step up to the plate to cover all of the other areas.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, make sure that even if in my chaos, that they could be, like you said, that calm before and after the storm.
Okay.
Because, I be all over the place, so I need somebody to kind of draw me in sometimes.
Okay. Somebody to be at your side when you need it.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the one thing that I've never fully had.
Right. And
Yeah.
you think maybe it's because of your upbringing that you didn't have that as a demand, like a specific thing, like, you know what, if you can't do this, we can't do this.
Yes, because I feel like some things you learn from your parents being in a household with two parents. Some things you learn, unfortunately, not unfortunately, but my dad raised me. So kind of being raised from a man's perspective is a little bit different than being raised by a woman.
Yes.
Right? So some of the things that a woman would tell you what the expectation should be,
Mm-hmm.
from my dad's point of view, it was different.
Okay.
Like, give an example. Like, a father should never tell their daughter, you should never be broke because you're sitting on your money box. I didn't even know what that meant when he said that.
Sitting on
Like,
your money. I never heard that either.
I was like, what? Like, I was a teenager when he said it, and it wasn't until I was, like, much older that when I reflected back on that conversation, I was like, now, I know you ain't tell your daughter that.
Well, he could have meant, like the singer, you better use what you got to get what you want. So
basically, yes, you sit on your money box. But then he also said, and this is why I never asked anybody to bring anything to the table. He also said, and I guess I live by this, never ask a man for anything, not even his name, because whatever he wants you to have, he will make sure you have it, because if he's in tune with you as his woman, he will already know what your needs are. So you should not have to ask him to do anything.
Now, see, that's something I disagree with wholeheartedly, because
I'm telling you, that's what he told me, and that's why I'm all up.
Well, yeah. So here's the thing, like, and this is funny because, when we have these conversations when it comes to men and women, a lot of times it's miscommunication, or lack of communication. And if I was talking to some of my friends, they'd be like, well, they expect us to be mind readers. Well, that's the example that you gave. A man will read something differently, than what you're I guess you're trying to convey, right? So I think in this particular era, you have to be more vocal in, articulating what you want, how you're feeling. Men included, especially men, because we don't do that all the time. We don't, we're not going to read those, the body language might say something different. You might say, I'm mad. And, we might take it as she wants some, so it could be that far apart. So,
right.
And I don't know how how the communication could be improved outside of, setting down some ground rules or some laws. Say, hey, listen, if you're feeling such and such, this is what you should do. You almost have to have a guidebook, a 300-page guidebook. So how men and women could properly communicate, so that's a little different. Now, one of the subjects we were talking about is actually our main subject, which is, it kind of plays into the same way when it comes to communication. Jealousy and envy. How do you handle, even in a relationship, how do you handle when someone else is jealous or yourself is jealous or envious? Now, before we get into that, let's talk about the difference between jealousy and envy. So we had to look this up because I always thought it was the same thing, because people use it, interchangeably. So jealousy is basically when someone feels a bit of fear, like they fear losing what they have. And it could be a time, attention, or a person, or anything, a connection. Where being envious is when you want something that someone else has, and you feel in some type of way because you don't have it, and then it manifests in your actions. You get that? Get the difference?
But to me, envy could be good or bad, though.
Yes, it depends on your actions.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be bad.
Okay, so I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's going to be a discussion question when it comes to being envious and how you manifest it. So jealousy is like, and we can come up with all types of examples of jealousy, right?
Mm-hmm. Jealousy is jealousy.
Yeah. If in a relationship is when you're, let's say, common one is when the guy or girl
talking to somebody else,
of course. Giving them their attention, or, or even takes some attention away from your person and gives it to somebody else. So the other person who's feeling jealous may feel like, oh, I'm about to lose what I have. Maybe not even the person, but I'm losing what I have. It could be status, right? Money.
Could be friendship.
Even friendship. Yeah, that's a good one. Friendship, yeah. So now, in your relationships, we're going to put you on the spot.
Not me. Why you
because you first.
Go.
In your relationship, have you ever felt jealousy?
Well, I try not to be jealous. Everybody at some point feels jealous, but I try not to be, because I'm a proud girl. So, but yeah, it is what it is. There are times where you feel some type of way. Okay. That you're being deprived.
So in relationships you have, let's say 5. Let me just throw it out there. Out of your 5, how many relationships have you had those feelings of jealousy before?
So feeling of jealousy. So now, as a full blown adult, even my friends, you have jealous friends. You have everything all the time. You know what I'm saying? So jealousy is just not about your partner, somebody you're in a relationship with. True. That's true. You have jealousy all around you, among your kids, among everybody, everywhere you go to. Jealousy is just a part of, it's just something you cannot help, Okay. Once something is just not going your way, or you feel threatened by whatever it is, then it's just a natural reaction, I think. Okay. So it now depends on how you channel that. True. All right. There's some crazy jealousy.
Penelope,
jealous people.
Even with what she just said, do you think jealousy and envy are natural human emotions, or basically a result from how society expects you to behave?
I feel like it's a result from society, how they expect you to behave. I was sitting here thinking, in my relationship, was there one where I was really jealous of anyone? I don't think so. I know that there were points when you deal with other partners that your partner may have had, like the mother of their children, right? I was never jealous of any of those women. They gave my husband something that I could not give him, which was children. Okay. So my role was to assist him with helping him to raise his children, which helped them. Okay. Right? Now, I can, and even I'm thinking about friendships with girlfriends. Now, I've been in a situation where there's a group of, and I don't know why women sometimes are so, catty, but I was invited into a group. Okay, so it's 2 scenarios. One scenario, I was invited into a group of women, and there were a few women who had very jealous tendencies, and very jealous because it's like, oh, Donna is this person's friend, but I don't want her to be that person's friend because me and that person are cool, and it takes away from me if we going out for drink. Why you ask her to go out with have drinks with you?
Right.
Why didn't you know? Whatever. But then I have another set of people, group of women who are all very professional. They are established, and one person invited me into that group, and those women like really like made me feel so warm, so welcome. You know, everybody is on the same level. It wasn't the same vibe as Group A.
It wasn't
like
cliquish.
Group B, yes, exactly. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. And you know, in that other group is always that one person that want to be the mean girl. So that mean girl spirit, you know what I mean? It's like almost watching the Potomac Housewives or something like that. Like at my age, I don't have that kind of time. You know, I have more years behind me than in front of me. So it does me absolutely no good to be jealous of what somebody else has, or because I'm all about, hey, y'all, we all can get together and have a good time.
Right.
That's
right.
all me. No, but I've been in situations where people just flat out do not like me, and they don't even know me. I went to a women's forum, and that topic kind of came up. Like, I don't understand why some women are just so, you know, catty, or you don't even know me, but you see my sunshine walk in the room, and sometimes my very essence would tear somebody else's spirit up. I don't know why.
So that would be
I don't
envy. That would be envy.
I don't even know.
Of course, that's not
Yeah.
jealousy.
That's something that they want, something that you have that they want, or they don't think you should have it because they don't have it.
Correct. That's envy.
That's envy, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So now you were saying, Felonious, that jealousy is more of a natural human
Reaction
thing,
to things, yes.
and that you're going to have it regardless.
Yes, it's
And-
something that can happen that without thinking about it, without it's, you don't have to admit it to yourself like, oh, I'm jealous, but sometimes you just react.
You have that feeling.
Yeah, differently than you should.
So could it be? It could be both. Depends on the scenario, right?
Yeah.
So in her case, where let's say you know a person is supposed to act a certain way, right? Because society says you're supposed to be this particular way, and then if it's not going that way, now you're jealous because you're fearing that you're going to lose that person because they're not acting the way society says they're supposed to act. Then in that case, it would be society's fault, not the human emotion part. Then in your case, not your particular, in the way the example you put, it might be you observe something, not so much as what the society says. You observe something that makes you feel that I'm going to lose that, or whatever we have is going to be jeopardized. So it could be both.
Not necessarily lose that, but just like
It could be interrupted.
or sharing something that you have.
Well, no, sharing would be societal.
So it could
Losing would be a human emotion. For it, so let me get into my favorite subject real quick. So in the case of polygamy, right?
shit.
So she mentioned that sharing would be, a point of jealousy. You don't want to share. But sharing is more or less a societal thing where society says, hey, you know what? We conditioned you into having one partner, and that partner should only want you. That's society. But on the human natural thing, that is not the case, because history has shown that that's always been the case. It's always been the scenario.
Okay, let me give you an example of,
Okay.
let's say me and her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm your friend.
Mm-hmm.
She's your friend.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to you all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and suddenly you're talking to her.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm not going to lose you, but
Mhm.
like the time where I want to talk to you, you're talking to her.
So that is
You
losing.
know?
You're losing time.
Okay. So,
So-
that's like, so
Okay.
something like that. So
Okay, and that could happen. That's a natural.
natural. Yeah,
That's a
what
natural
I'm
thing.
saying.
Okay.
Yeah. You just
So-
feel like, for instance, like, somebody else is doing what we do, or
Right.
stuff like that. It's just me and you, and you're doing it with somebody else.
Right.
You
So
know,
you're threatening about the time.
Yes.
Okay.
It's just
So
feeling of
it can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Both ways. In those scenarios, it happens both ways.
Yeah, but an envy also is something like, oh my God, I'm envious of you. Doesn't necessarily mean I want to act on it, or I feel bad, or jealous of what is happening with you. It's just like, oh my God, I'm envious. Like, I wish this were me.
Oh, okay.
You know
So
what I'm
you saying
saying?
being somebody being envious of you could be actually a good thing.
Yeah, not necessarily mean
Like they don't
that
hate you.
Yes,
for it,
that they
but
mean
I
harm.
want what you want.
Yes, what you have. Like, oh my God, this is going well for you. Like everything. Oh my God, I love your job. I wish it were me. You know,
Right.
It's something that I feel doesn't mean like, oh my God, I hate you for having that job.
Like how you was with me when we first met. Like you wanted to be like me.
Who are you exactly? Who you are?
All right. So now here's a personal question. Have you ever felt? Well, I'm gonna say everybody has at one point. Who would you say you were most envious of in your life? That's for you, Donna Marie, Penelope Plantkiller.
I don't know if I've ever been.
No sisters, mothers, cousins.
If you're talking, yeah, it would be my sisters. I don't know if it's envious or more that I'm so super proud of them, and if I had to have a mentor, it would be my sister Christine. She's the middle one, but her soul is older. It's like she's the middle child, but she's the oldest child, if that makes sense.
Okay.
She, like, her life wasn't no picnic either, but she was the one who taught me a lot of things about the first, because, again, she was raised by my mother. So she's bringing a different perspective to my life, right? And I always, not being jealous or envious of her, but I always strive to be better because I wanted her to be proud of me because I'm the oldest. I should be setting the examples that she was setting for me.
Okay, so that's a case of when envy could be positive.
Yes.
Okay.
I guess.
And then there's some envies that could be negative as far as like
Like, why always you all the time? Why do good things happen to only you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
And then you wish for somebody's downfall.
Exactly.
That happens especially in celebrity circles, at the job place. Oh, wow, this person always getting the employee of the month. I hope she gets fired.
Yeah, no, I've never been in that space because I'm a real big believer in karma. I'm a real big believer in how you think shapes your world. And if I'm putting in the universe negative vibes on somebody else's stuff, trust me, it'll be like a dag on ping pong ball, ting, 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 because that karma comes back to me. You know what I mean? So I never wish anybody any type of downfall. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bless you. I know, like, hey, girl, bless you. Like, because going back to those two examples I had, Group A and Group B, I literally had to say in Group A, like, listen, this is too much for me. If being a friend to you is going to bring me all of those negative results from these other people, then I would prefer not to be in this group and not to be your friend because I don't need all of that other extra drama. I'm not with all of those shenanigans. That's just how I live. I just want to peace.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So
can we just love one another? Kumbaya type people.
So now that brings up the question. We were talking about your past relationships. And that means any relationship. How has jealousy or envy impacted your romantic relationships, or friendships, or your workplace? You already mentioned the friendship part. Thelonious, in your personal relationships, how has jealousy impacted your personal relationships?
So I'll talk about friendship. So it has limited some things. It shapes you in a way where you don't want. I don't want to say I've been through a lot, but yeah, I've not in my own. I try not to be jealous with friends or in relationship. You don't see me jealous, but if I get jealous, it means I have a reason to be. You know what I'm saying? Like,
such as.
That's what I'm saying. I can't even think about it if I don't.
All right, so in your having friends that's jealous of you, meaning, sharing of time.
Yeah.
How has that impacted your relationships with those people?
Yeah, it has. So I hold back more. It makes me hold back more.
Okay.
Like, okay, I don't want this person to be mad at this person. So instead of having to talk, oh, I'm with this person, I try to cover it and not say, oh, I'm here or I'm there. You know what I'm saying? It's uncomfortable, really.
You start, let's say, avoidance, or even at some point, like lying by omission.
Yeah, or not talking about it. Yeah, just
right. So you just don't mention the other person.
The other person.
Okay.
Correct.
Now, what if it becomes a problem? Now, do you distance yourself? Have you distanced yourself from one of the friends that's jealous?
Yeah, I have, because it affects me as well. It gives me headache. Like, oh my God, like, why do I have to go through all of this?
So you just want to just cut it off and eliminate it, just boom, boom.
Yeah,
okay.
Why do I have to go through all of this?
What about you? Have you had Donna? Have you had issues with jealousy? It doesn't have to be from you, because you don't seem like you're the jealous type. But when somebody else is jealous, like if you had a boyfriend or a husband, ex-husband, whatever it is, that they're jealous, they brought jealousy in it. How has it affected their or your relationships?
I don't know. I don't know if any.
Oh, look! Every relationship had an incidence of jealousy.
I don't know if my husband was actually jealous of anyone, because we were in a circle of friends before we got together.
Mm-hmm.
So every time he saw me, I was with somebody different because I was single. Like, I was bringing people to different events or whatever.
Okay.
But I don't know if he was ever. I know that I've been in. I don't know if it was a jealousy thing, or like you said, the fear of losing something. I've been in a relationship where the person decided that I was no longer an interest to them. So when they walked away, it was more about why not me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was it that the other person had that I didn't have to make that person want to just leave? But I feel like it was also a sense of abandonment.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was jealousy or envy, but it took me to a space.
But you know what? What you just said, I think, now this is the question too. Now, I think, can you have both envy and jealousy at the same time? And let's say in that scenario where you said you was let's say you was fearful of the person leaving you, right? And the envious part was like, what does she have that I don't have? Or you've seen her and said, well, you know what? I wish she didn't have that. That makes my guy want her over me.
Still jealousy.
That's envy, right? Envy.
Still jealousy.
So you could have both.
No, I don't think so. One feeling will be greater than the other one.
Yeah, but you
it's
still have both.
Jealousy that will make you think that, okay, whatever, like, what does she have? She doesn't have this. She's not even good looking.
That would be envy. Well,
no, it's jealousy.
Yeah, because I haven't even seen this person at this point, so I don't know what you look like to have those feelings. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just a question. Okay, you're willing to leave me for this person. What does this person have that I don't have? And sometimes it's really not you. It's the person. It's, you just, listen, I'm looking for something else, or I'm just checked out because you was never really the one from the beginning. You was just something, But I've been in that space, and it wasn't a comfortable space. But in questioning myself, that journey was a long process because, again, it makes you kind of insecure. When they just, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, yeah. So I don't think that I have ever been jealous in a relationship. Now
everybody's been jealous.
Yeah.
No, not really. Not really. I've asked, like, okay, using the scenario with you having a partner that has a father of a child or a mother that you're dealing with, right? Those relationships are hard because sometimes on the other end, that person can't let go, or they're just mad that the other person walked away, so they want to cause you a whole bunch of drama,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you bring the drama to my door, I have to draw that line. Like, listen, I don't know what you're doing. Like, don't bring that over here. That has nothing to do with me.
So then that also means that there was jealousy and envy in your relationship because somebody interjected that in there.
Yes,
Okay.
but not from my,
Not
like, I'm just trying to live in listen, I was not raised in one of those type of things. My parents, be it what it may, the one thing that I can say is that family is family. If it's a, I told you I got bust in the mouth for calling my my half brother, my dad. Like, boy, listen, drew blood. These lips drew blood. He was like, you never call. That is your brother. That's my seed. Not no half, nothing.
wow.
Like, so wait, he's a different mother. That is your brother, right? So we were raised in blended families long before a blended family was society, approved it to be okay,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, and I know that like my brother's mother sometimes didn't fool with my mother and my mother. It's like it was jealousy between the two of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but we like, listen, y'all doing too much. He's just a man. Like, you doing too much. But see, my dad would say, again, being raised by a man, men are like buses. Relationships are like buses. Women are like buses. When the number 9 is coming down, a 10 is coming up. It's just, where do you want to, what stop, when are you going to get off that bus?
Mm-hmm.
And what stop are you going to be on? My mother probably would have never told me nothing like that.
So I guess his perspective is that relationships are not meant to last, or they just don't last. It's a cycle of getting on and off a bus.
If it's not going to last, or, okay, if you see the drama, you see the trouble, you don't need to stay on that ride.
All right,
You
get
can
off and
it.
get on another one. Okay.
Get off and get on
So I
another
have
one. My
this.
dad was a Taurus. He didn't. Once he was done, he was done. I'm
Okay.
getting off this bus, and I'm going to go across the street, and I'm gonna get the bus going uptown.
Okay.
So I don't know if you said this, but it says jealousy. So now the difference between jealousy and envy is jealousy is losing something that you have, whatever it is.
Right.
And then envy is wanting something that
Yes.
doesn't belong to you.
Yes.
That's envy. So that we don't confuse jealousy.
Yeah,
Envy.
that's what we defined it the first time.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying you can have both, because if, all right, let's say you and I, and, let's say I'm jealous because I'm losing something, but I can also be envious that,
Somebody else is getting what you
envious that they're getting what I want. Also, that I might even be envious of you because you are in a position that gives you options. You get me? I might say, well, she has a really good job. She has a nice car. She has this personality that for her is easy to get another person, where, I might be a super duper introvert, and I know if I lose you, then I might not get another person. So that's a jealousy and envy.
I don't know. But I think it's one emotion at a time, though.
No, you can't have multiple emotions. You never had it where you can love and hate somebody at the same time?
I hate that I love you so.
But
Okay.
I mean, I think it's an interesting thing when you talk about emotions.
If I get jealous, I'm gonna show you in my own way.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, like, I'm gonna
You want to be passive aggressive?
no. I'm going to, what's that thing where you I'm asking you. I'm looking for the word not beat you at your own game, or it's something like I'm going to give you a taste
of your own medicine.
That's it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So
I'm going to explain it to you.
You're going to show it.
Yeah.
You're going to show you how you made me feel. I'm going to give it to you. Okay.
No, I'm showing you in the same sense, the same way that you made me feel. So I'm going to do it as well with somebody else, so you can see.
Okay.
That's not nice.
And it's very not constructive. That is definitely not the way to go. But that goes to, that was the question. Like, how do you react when that happens? Like, now here's my personal opinion. The proper thing would be to communicate. We was talking about that earlier. You have to have that communication to say, hey, listen, and be honest with yourself and honest with the other person. Like, hey, this is how that makes me feel, right?
Telling you makes me feel like you have some sort of power over me. So I'm not trying to admit that.
Oh, so it's more or less your pride.
Yeah.
And your ego.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a case where pride and ego can ruin something for you, because if you're being an adult, you gotta, if you care to make things better, that's the key. If you care to make things better, you have to communicate openly and say, you know what, I don't like that, and then let that person decide whether they value that. So
absolutely. Going back to that scenario, these scenarios that I gave, they are real scenarios. Going back to scenario A with the mean girl group, right? I told one of the individuals, like, listen, I don't care what you do with these other young ladies. Mm-hmm. Like, they were in your life long before I came. I don't care nothing about that. Those are your friendships. And I've done, you put me in these circles, and I've done everything that I can to be, polite to them, but all of that, stuff that they're bringing, I don't like it when you decide that because you're playing with them, now you can't call me. Or you call me when they don't want to play with you, when you're mad with one of them. You want to call. When I have an issue and I need to express how I'm feeling, maybe I had a bad day and I need to talk to you, you're not available for me. But yet when you call me, you want me to stop, drop, and then you say to me, well, I'm such and such and such happened, and one day I just snapped and was like, listen, you're not the only one that has stuff going on.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I'm choosing to be your friend, but if you're not going to give back what I put into you, then we just need to go on ahead our separate ways, because I'm not doing this right here.
Okay.
Right. So but to her credit, she actually heard what I was saying, and she could feel the emotion that I had behind it. And she really legitly did like a 360 turn. And our friendship is so much better having had that conversation.
Okay. So I have a scenario for you. It's not really a scenario, but just it kind of relates to what you just said.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Kind of relates to what you just said. And I want to hear what you would do and what your expectation is. So let's say you're my friend and Polonius is my friend. If I bring you all together, do you expect, or would you think it was proper for you to make friends with her? Or are you of the mind that it's more proper that, you stay on one side and she stay on the other side, and when we come together, we can, whatever. So there's no technically friend stealing.
I don't believe, this is it. I don't believe that you can only be friends with one person. Mm. When I come into a setting to meet her, then, like, hey, how you doing? Hey, I'm hoping that there can be some kind of, because listen, we have been friends for a very long time, mm-hmm. right? So that I would hope that, she would see that my energy, that all I do is have positive energy and about you and your well-being, because we're friends. Now, if I was one of them shady people and she had that antenna up, she would like, listen, as my friend, I don't want you fooling with her, because I feel like something is not legitly right with her.
Okay.
So she might need to stay on the other side of the room, because I'm not getting that warm and fuzzy vibe about her.
Okay. What say
You
you?
know, but I believe that people, when people meet people, either they're going to be like, you know what, I think she's cool. Let me, let's see, hang out and see what happens. Or I'm not really feeling her. You could be cool with her. Don't have nothing to do with me. And I go on about my business.
Okay, so you wouldn't mind if you brought a friend around your friend and then they became friends, and even sometimes
Absolutely
better
not.
friends. Okay.
Yeah, and I've had those situations that happen.
And what about you?
But with my sisters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like bring friends into a group and they become very good friends with these friends. Like
Right.
they're families. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
And that's totally
Yeah.
acceptable.
Yeah, absolutely. In my world, anyway.
Stop looking at me.
Well, I'm asking you the question. What say you?
Well, I feel like, so it depends though. Women friendships and male friendships is different. So if I were to meet, let's say you're a guy, right? And I were to meet her from you, and I feel like, oh, okay, we're girls, so it's okay, we can be friends. I don't think guys mind that kind of thing.
Right.
But if it's like all three female friendship, like you're female and you're my friend, and then you bring her to the table, I wouldn't want to cross that line.
Okay, so you're saying there's a difference between male and female dynamic.
Yeah.
So if you brought me to a function, I'm your friend, and you had another friend who was a female, you wouldn't mind if I made friends with her.
No, I'll mind.
You mind? But if it's a guy,
If it's a guy, now I'm thinking about it. No, I'll mind.
you would mind if it's a guy.
Yeah.
So her perspective is, if it's my friend, don't be making better friends with my friends.
Nope. And the reason is because, no, it's not because of that. The reason is because my friendships are personal. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a lot of friends. So the ones I have are those ones that are like dear to my heart. So it's not easy for you to be my friend. But when you're my friend, I feel like we're a family. You're everything to me. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
So having you have that with somebody else, or taking my business out there, you know what I'm saying? Like, because when you're my friend, I lay it out there. I tell you who I am. You see who I am. You see my vulnerability, everything. You know what I'm saying? So I share that with only certain people. That's why I keep my friendship.
You like to have that separate.
You know what I'm saying? We can hang out as friends. Other people can come in. We can hang out as friends. But once we're done, everybody's going back.
So no exchanging phone numbers.
Nope. So that's how it is for me. Nope.
All right, this has been an interesting conversation. with
no
men.
way. That's how I feel. Yeah.
I think obviously guys have a different perspective on stuff like that. So I know for me, if I have a friend over here and I have another friend, my expectation is, oh, cool. I hope you guys become really good friends like we are. So automatically, if I bring you around somebody else, I'm wishing that we all become the same type of friend.
But I've had that with you before, right?
Yeah.
You have, right?
But has it worked out?
I don't know. You ask yourself.
But yeah, we gotta. This is a good question. I know we're gonna have a follow up on that, but we gotta have. I'm gonna bring in Pastor Dirty for this one because we gotta have another male perspective in there.
Yeah.
This whole friendship dynamics, but it's funny. But we need a word of the day. Penelope Plantkiller.
Why does she have to kill plants though?
Oh, I'm gonna ask you how are the cats working out?
Okay. So one of the cats got away.
Uh-huh.
I don't think that she wanted to be an indoor cat. And it is crazy. Well, I feel like I startled her. I went outside to unplug some lights, and it was snowing. I went to unplug the lights. And she was coming out the door, trying to get out the door. And when I went to grab her, I felt like I startled her, so she ran into the snow. So I'm trying to get her. She's all up under this bush. Like, I put food out. I'm trying to get her back. She's like, whatever. So I looked for her for days and could not find her. So I'm hoping that somebody snatched her up. But Starlight is doing great. She's getting big. Yeah, she's it's funny, she won't let me just like pick her up and just touch her, but when she wants to be touch. She only wants to be around me when it's bedtime.
Okay.
We have one like
It's time to go to bed.
So,
That's the only time she wants you to pet her, touch her, or whatever is when it's bedtime.
you know, outside cats, if a cat is outside, they typically will always have that desire to be outside. Even if they're outside cat, they will definitely, want to be outside. So if you ever, if the other one starts running away, and if you ever want 2 more cats, holla at me.
I got you.
Definitely holla at me. Well, I want to.
Like I gave her a good home. Like I went out and bought all of this stuff for the cats. Like the cats got more stuff than I got.
They could be unappreciative.
Oh, very. But the crazy thing is, this cat Starlight loves TV. She will sit and watch TV. We were watching The Lion King the other day, and I was bugging out. I had to actually record it. I mean, like, she was invested.
Oh, really?
And she watches, what's that other little show? It comes on Netflix. Oh, my God. It's about the guy who's the dream. Oh, my God. What is the name of that dang on show? It's so good, too.
Morpheus? No, not Morpheus.
Okay, so what is the name of this show? And I cannot believe it's gone just that quick. It is so good, Brian. I promise you, it is so good. This dude is he's like the keeper of the dreams, or the dream whatever. Like dreams happen for him.
He's Morpheus.
He ended up getting kidnapped.
He's Morpheus.
So you know the show I'm talking about?
Yes.
He invested in that show.
Which is
One
funny.
of the episodes was about cats.
Yeah,
And he was invested.
he's Morpheus, god of dreams.
Yeah.
And he was being held prisoner for so many years, and then he got out and
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great show. Like I watched every single episode of both seasons. I hope it comes back. Sandman? No, not Sandman.
Yes, that's what it's called.
Is that what it is?
It is
Sandman.
Yes. Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
But she's invested. She just watches TV, so I didn't even know cats watch TV like that.
What So what did we talk? This is give us a word of the day. We talked about love in love. Jealousy.
I would say envy.
Envy.
Right?
Envy. Okay.
Yeah.
Envy is envy.
I need to start making sure that see now this conversation got my head going. Like I would really be thinking all day, have I ever really been envious of somebody?
Everybody has. Everybody has.
Tell them, like, I need to go back and
You can't avoid it, I don't think. I think envy also is another natural human emotion as well. I think we can't help it. Like for me, now we mentioned it before, I was always envious of other people, especially when I find out famous people are taller than me. So, and I'd be feeling some type of way. So, yes.
Weird.
That's not weird. I'm still look when I found out Jay-Z was 6'2", I was hot because I thought we were the same height. So, all right.
Well, if that's the case, I'm definitely envious of Beyonce and that hair, the wigs. Oh my God, I don't know. I need Tina to come hook me up or somebody, whoever her stylist is, because their hair is always rocking.
So envy is our word of the day. Mm-hmm. So for those listeners who listen to the podcast, if you get the word of the day for the month of March, we'll have a prize at the end of March. And as we said before, we didn't have a winner for February, and we was going to give away a BMW 2025 BMW fully loaded. And we had to send it back to the company because.
Remind me again, what truck do you, what car do you?
What car did I drive?
Do you drive?
So yeah, this you can hit us up at 443-860-2716.
You sure?
Yes,
Okay.
You can send us a text message. You can email us at Hot Topix TOPIX podcast @gmail.com, or actually that's it. So let us know. And check out the next episode, because I think we're going to come up with something really, really, we need a spicy topic.
Okay.
We're going to come up with this. If you have any ideas of, anything spicy, let us know. And we're going to be on it.
Okay.
So, but thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, family, for listening to the latest episode of Hot Topics. As usual, listen, like, share, subscribe. Ta!